All right, welcome everyone to the Peace Alliance Department of Peace Building Campaign monthly call. Yeah, so much in the world since last month. It seems it's
Oh
very
God,
full
yeah.
and wonderful. So who would like to start with some check-ins? Say hi. Tell us where you're from and a little bit about why you're here, connected to the Department of Peace legislation.
I'll start. Hi everybody, nice to see all your faces. It's been hot. I'm sure a lot of people everywhere experiencing a lot of heat, so it's a little more steamy here in DC. But actually, I know this is not Peace Alliance stuff, but what's happening in my building is, does anybody know about the Juneteenth? It's called Pharrell Williams is doing. Oh God, I already forgot the name. Something water, carry the water. Something. It's a festival he's done. Does anybody just ring a bell? But it was all these artists coming into town. I mean, the tickets are kind of expensive, but in our building, the retail space is not rented out. So they converted it into, it's going to be the VIP lounge. So John Batiste and a lot of artists are coming. So I am going to do my best to get invited to that VIP lounge. It's like $400 or $500 to go to all these concerts, I think. But anyway, it's kind of exciting. I mean, that's just one of the reasons I love DC. It's, you know, I went to the march for our Lives concert. I mean, we didn't march though, which I was a little, I don't know why we didn't march. We just gathered by the Washington Monument. I got there after there was that scare. Did people hear about that? Or somebody yelled gun?
What march?
And what's that?
What march are you talking about?
DC, Washington, DC. Oh, the March for Our Lives. These are the students from Stoneman Douglas.
Yeah, I watched it on C-SPAN.
Yeah, and these poor people, they just, I mean, I got there after that, but there were people that didn't show up because they're worried about that. I mean, if this is not the time to press for this, push for this legislation, really, that you can't even go. And
I think that helped.
Show up at a peaceful gathering to say, care about.
Yeah.
Let's make some good laws. Anyway, I'll stop there.
Okay, thanks, Lori. Sarah, would you like to go next?
Oh, sure. I'm in Northern Illinois, about 60 miles northwest of Chicago, and just have been kind of on the fringe of getting all your emails for a long time and being a financial supporter, but haven't really stepped into much. But something about this call intrigued me tonight, so I just thought I'd show up and see, what you're all about and how I can be supportive of, just creating peace in every aspect of our world, right? So
yeah.
Fascinating time to be human on this planet. So
Very true, very true. Well, welcome. Thanks. Yeah, I'll go next because a fellow Illinoisan, we don't have that every month. I'm actually from south of Chicago and right now coming to you from Wisconsin. But we'll be passing through Northern Illinois and picking up my RV on the way home on Sunday.
Well, come on by.
Stuck in the shop in Rockford. Yeah, so I've been with the campaign since 2015, and I'm one of the 10 people on the Department of Peace Building Committee now, and we'll talk if you want to hear more about the bill or so forth as we're going along. We can address that a little bit more, but yeah, so welcome, and I hope.
Can I just add one thing?
Oh, sure.
That my mom and her sister were very, very involved in the 60s in trying to get a peace department built or up and going. So they're both gone, of course, but yeah, I just want to support what they, helped get rolling a long time ago. So I know this has been a long journey for thousands and thousands of people. So
yeah, great. I wonder if they were involved with Peace Program because she was active around that time, advocating for a Secretary of Peace. But okay, Nancy.
I'm brought to you from Northern California, Ohlone land, and I'm really happy to be here. It's nice to see everybody.
Deanne?
Yes, coming to you from Pawgussett land, otherwise known as Bridgeport, Connecticut. I'm the managing director of the Peace Alliance, and I'm glad to be here with everybody.
Great. DJ, you want to say hi?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Yes, I'm in North Central Florida, and I'm on the phone right now with you, but I will be appearing in person in a few minutes. And I believe the Department of Peace Building would change the world for the better. And we need it. And you guys are a great bunch of folks. And that's why I'm here.
Okay. Beth, you want to say hi now that we've officially
Yeah, I
started the
do.
meeting?
I'm Beth Blick, and I'm from St. Paul, Minnesota, and I'm real interested in hearing about how far along the bill is coming and how many people from the House and Senate have endorsed it, especially because I'm so happy about you know, what's been going on in the House and Senate on what took place on the bill that's supposed to be curbing gun violence. I know there are more things that could have gone in, but I think we all can agree on what, you know, kind of good things are going to help, you know, prevent more gun violence, which is very much a part of what, you know, everybody wants.
Yeah, thanks, Beth. And I don't remember if you said, but Beth is from Minnesota. Yeah.
Yeah, I did say Minnesota.
Okay.
Yeah, I said St. Paul, Minnesota.
Charlie.
I'm in Amherst, New York, and I'm just happy to be part of this effort here. And I wonder what it would be like to transform this nation and then the whole world into a place where everybody, every single person on the planet conscientiously objects. You know?
To violence.
That's all.
Great. Laura?
Hi, everybody. I'm Laura. I'm from northwestern Pennsylvania near Erie, and this is originally Seneca Native American lands. The Seneca were the western door of the Iroquois Nation. And let's see, very happy to be on the call. And I would like to say some people on the call, a lot of people on the call, got an email from me earlier today because there was a big announcement from the Institute for Economics and Peace. They came out with their annual Global Peace Index for the year, and this is their 15th year of putting out this kind of data on peace around the world and indicators of peace and positive peace and all that kind of stuff. And the news is that this is the lowest level of peacefulness around the world in the last 15 years. So of all the 15 years that they've been doing data on peace, this is the lowest level of peacefulness around the world. And it's been a general decline all of those 15 years. So we are making no progress around the world. And the report has a lot of more information. The US slipped from 122 out of 163 countries in terms of peacefulness from 122 to 129. And I was on a call with them, a live presentation, which you can get, which should be posted in a couple days. And there was a lot of discussion about what we can do about what's going on and how to take everything to the next step, because you know, this is really good data showing, you know, we need a Department of Peace Building because things are going south. They're not staying the same. They're not getting better. They're getting worse.
Time to pull ourselves up
Yeah.
by the bootstraps.
Pull ourselves up by the bootstraps.
Into peace. All right, Kendra.
I'm in Florida and Appalachian country. I've been learning more about the Appalachian. The Florida history is so different from California history because they've had the Spanish, the British, the French, the Spanish, and the Americans. And so that's pretty interesting. And then I just learned today that Al Lawson is going to be running in the my gerrymandered district. So I'm going to see what I can do to help.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, so next up, we usually do a connection exercise. Any volunteers for that?
I would love to have Lori do it if you would be up for it.
What say ye, Lori Russo?
Yeah, it's so funny because I love what I was thinking, Kendra, I'd love to have you do it. Okay, let's just do a nice little. We're gonna do some heart breathing, okay, and radiate some love to the world. How's that? So
Okay.
just get comfortable and just let's take a nice couple deep breaths. Now imagine, and you can even put your hand over your heart, just imagine that you're breathing into your heart space. So you're breathing in and out, but all from your heart space. And as we do that, think of something that just brings an automatic smile to your face. Could be anything, anything. Somebody you know, a pet, a story, just something that just kind of brings you to a place where you just smile. So as we continue to breathe from our heart space, and now we are feeling joyful, we are just going to send all that joy and good vibrations out first among ourselves to our country, to all the country, to the world, to the planet, to all beings. Just radiate the joy that you're holding in your heart in this moment. And we're going to calm down the present moment, that which we desire. So there is peace, there is love, there is joy, there is connectivity, there is harmony, there is peace in our hearts, in our minds, and our world. One more nice deep breath. And so it is.
Lovely. Thank you.
All right, so next up on the agenda, we go through some updates of what's happened in the campaign recently on actions, et cetera, which is in Nancy's bailiwick. And then we get into a discussion, and I think, is Charlie going to give us a little bit of a report tonight? Yes, okay.
Yeah, I'll introduce him right after my part, I guess.
Yeah, so then we'll touch base before the discussion on some possibilities and see what we want to discuss in tonight's call. So take it over, Nancy.
So we talked about this call being about empathy, and Lori just mentioned joy. So both of those things, I hope, are parts of what our advocacy is about and parts of what the bill is about. Right now, there's a bill in Congress, as probably all of you know, for Department of Peace Building. It has 30 co-sponsors at the moment. And Beth, there is no Senate counterpart to this bill yet.
Oh, there aren't.
No. But we always have that in the back of our mind, and thinking and working sort of in various ways on how we might materialize that. So anyway, the 30, it's a good group. We're working on a lot of different ways to get more co-sponsors, and some of those I'll ask Deanne to put in the chat, so we won't go over it in real detail, but we're still in the process of scheduling some Mother's Day pie meetings. So we had styled that as being May and June. And we have one meeting coming up with Carolyn Maloney's office on Friday. Jana will be heading that, and if any of you want to participate in that and haven't already told her so, why don't you put that in the chat and we'll let her know. She may get on the call. I know she has to kind of rush home from work to get on the call, but anyway, we have that. DJ has several possibilities in the works with some Florida members of Congress. We're also working on our social media presence, and we have a lot of things that you can do. Sign petitions, ask your member of Congress to co-sponsor, ask organizations to co-sponsor, that kind of thing. But right now I want to focus a little bit on our monthly actions. We have all this year we've been doing calling a different list of members of Congress each month. We're calling it 11 minutes, 11 calls for HR 1111. And there's a list for the June group up on our website. And you can see that and see their phone numbers. And there's some urgency about getting doing these calls or following up on some of your past calls, because we're starting to go into that time of year when Congress isn't necessarily paying attention to all this. They'll adjourn during the last week of June and the first week of July for the July 4th holiday. And then the House of Representatives will be out of session all of August and then until September 13th. So this is a good time to try to get through to them. And another reason for that is they generally don't update the official list of co-sponsors while Congress is not in session. So if you're thinking of calling, this is a good time to do that. Let's see, our list, as we put out on the email, voting is the expression of our commitment to ourselves, one another, this country, and this world. And I think that advocating for a Department of Peace Building and a culture of peace is the same thing. It's an expression of our commitment to ourselves, to one another, to this country, and to the world. And you all know what touches you personally about the Department of Peace Building bill. So when you advocate, I suggest you go to that place in your own heart. It might be children, it might be gun violence prevention, it might be international peace, it might be justice, or any and all of those. But when you advocate, that's my recommendation, is that you talk about what's touching you. And we'll talk about some of those issues a little bit later in the call too. I guess another point is that our members of Congress are there to represent us. So I hope they'll listen to what our concerns are. and that they sometimes have to be reminded about that a little bit. So when you write or call them, make that connection too, that and understanding that for the most part, there are people who want to do the right thing. And so it's not in vain to take time out of your day to try to contact them. If you look at the June list, there are 4 people from California, 1 from Florida, 1 from Indiana, 1 from Massachusetts, 1 from Missouri, 1 from New York, and 2 from Washington. So if any of those geographic areas call to you, then focus on those people. There's several former co-sponsors on the list. There are people, Corey Bush from Missouri is a person who's experienced homelessness. So I'm sure she can connect on that level. Andre Carson from Indiana is a person we've talked to in Washington, DC. Kendra and I thought we had him on board, and we misunderstood, or he misunderstood what we were saying, but he seemed like a really decent person. Pramila Jayapal from Washington is awesome. We just need to get her back on the bill. She was a co-sponsor. Zoe Lofgren, if you've been watching the hearings, she's on our list. She led the hearings on day 2 of the hearing, the January 6th hearings. Doris Matsui is from California, and she's been in office for quite a while, but she came in when her husband died. He was a congressional representative from the Sacramento, California area. We have Grace Napolitano, who is a former co-sponsor. She's from California. Adam Smith from Washington, a former co-sponsor. Darren Soto from Florida, a former co-sponsor. Richie Torres from New York, and Laura Trahan from Massachusetts. So pick one or pick them all, or whatever talks to you, and get out there and tell the world that we need Department of Peace. We need some peace building. So if you do that, let me know, Nancy at peacealliance.org. So we're sort of keeping track. And the next thing we want to do, I want to introduce Charlie. Most of you know Charlie. He's been our biggest, most extraordinary contactor of members of Congress. So I'd like to hear from him a little bit about what Department of Peace Building means, and his contacts with Democrats to support Department of Peace Building. And he probably is the only person on this call who has contacted all 50 Republican senators to ask them to do something about gun violence prevention. So Charlie, we will be giving a medal to you in a little while, but let's hear from you now, okay?
A medal, it'll be my first one. How exciting.
I say what kind of medal, but
heavy metal, like music?
Something like that, yes.
Call. I would just say call. Go ahead and do it. It's fun. It can be fun. It's free, and it can lead to more freedom for all of us. Freedom from violence, war, and all sorts of bad stuff. It's constructive, loving action. You know, it's being a practicing idealist and a dreamer and a gardener, planting seeds and cultivating them, trying to raise consciousness. Here's a motivating, inspiring thought to my mind. Get very, very quiet and imagine that you are listening to the voices of people in the future. People in the future, thanking everyone who made an effort to create a more peaceful, kind-hearted, peace on earth, goodwill towards all reality. Huh? Why not? Why not a planet full of people that have a reverence for all life? You know? it's a long road, but if everybody did their parts, why not? Calling Congress and calling the House, calling the Democrats to support, to co-sponsor HR 1111. I've called a whole bunch of them, and it's good. I mean, lots of the people are friendly, get a lot of answer machines. Number 3 is often the button to push to, if you want to talk to a staffer, which is what I think the best thing to do, and ask them for contact information, right? Calling the 50 Republican US senators, well, that was kind of a blast. That was very interesting. I mean, a whole bunch of famous people that I've heard of before, these powerful people. Here I am speaking to the power, and trying to get through. I was persistent. Some of them I called 3 or 4 times trying to get somebody on the line. After seeing the Steve Kerr video, I felt a little bit like I was calling the big bad wolves, or not the kindest, wisest people in the world. That said, I try to approach it with a really, as good as I could, very balanced and friendly attitude, always, trying to catch more flies with honey rather than vinegar, and trying to have faith in the belief that all people, even Republican senators, are basically good. And the only other thing I can think of to say is that the feeling that I get when I stop to think or reflect on the nobleness of this effort, and that I get to be a part of it, it makes me very happy. And that's all I have to say.
That's awesome, Charlie. Thank you. And I'll get started on the medal right away.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. And maybe during the discussion, people will want to ask you a little bit more about your experiences, but that gives us a really good overview feeling about it.
That's beautiful. Thank you.
I wanted to go to the sort of an introduction to elections and an empathy platform. And the reason I thought about doing this is one of the candidates for my congressional representative ran on an empathy platform. And we just finished our voting in the primary in California. Some of you may have participated in his Peace Alliance empathy workshops. In the recent primary, Edwin Rusich ran against the person who will probably end up being my congressional 8 district representative, John Garamendi, who I've had before. So I'm asking, I sent the platform, I sent the flyer, the stuff from the voter bulletin to Lori, so she can maybe talk just a little bit about what that sparked in her and what her thoughts are about empathy platform and empathy in politics. So maybe you could give us a little bit on that, Lori.
Yeah, sure. So hi, everybody again. It's really, it's really interesting. It's that you asked me to speak on empathy, because for the last, about a month ago, I'm always, Charlie and I share, or maybe all of it in this call, that just from a young kid, always believed in world peace. That's just been, and so I'm always trying to think of ways, so how do you reach people's hearts? Because I too believe people are good. It's all about, the communicating. How do we make that connection and reach people's hearts? And not everybody had, it's the kind of this revelation that some people really don't have the empathy. It's not that it's a gene, but it's almost like they don't have that empathy gene, right? So how do you get people to feel, to have feelings about what somebody else is going through. So, and then about 2 weeks ago, I was watching my Reverend Sylvia with the church I go to online, and this was after the shooting in Texas, and she was speaking about empathy, and she was saying how a lot of people will say, I mean, just how horrendous that was, right? I mean, and I love the fact that my reverend now is getting political, because I've been going to this church for years, and I asked her years ago, I said, do you get involved in politics? She goes, no, I don't like to get politics. I think everything is political. It's about how do we want to form our society? Everything to me is political. So she got really political, and she said, people say, oh, I can't imagine. And she says, we have to imagine. She goes, you have to imagine that mother that went to go pick up her child, and she couldn't see her child because the child was not recognizable. And this is our reverend saying this at part of the sermon. And I think that's so true, and it was like kind of the light bulb went off. It's like, so how do you, I just thought, so think about like that. So that's one step. I mean, I know for me, like for animal rights issues, that's probably the hardest for me when I try to imagine what animals go through. Thank goodness that people could go and do that work hands-on. I have a very hard time with that, but I think that's what it comes down to. We have to imagine other people's, what other people are feeling. And so anyway, so then Nancy asked me to speak about this. I never heard of this man. So I'm reading this little blurb, but then I went and watched a video of his. He was bringing like Trump supporters together with other people, and they were in a tent, and he was just kind of showing how he mediates. And I'm just going to read from this video. I thought it just made so much sense. He goes, empathy is the gateway. Once you understand the needs people have, the pain people have, the alienation that people may feel. He goes, once you have that, then you could bring reason into the conversation. You could bring logic into the conversation. You find that connection, and through that connection is where the solutions are to the problems. And because I was watching this video, and because for me, when I don't think that anybody who supports Trump, I'm sorry, I don't think you can make an argument that there's a moral reason, a moral reason to support him. But by just watching, so thank you, Nancy, for letting me speak on this. And then I learned a little bit, because clearly I need to open up to that and understand the story behind that. But I loved how he said, first be empathetic and then bring the logic. Because there's some things that aren't logical, so you don't have to give up on your principles, but you just want to understand, try to get in the shoes of somebody else. And then he just quoted Johann Galtung, and he said, peace is resolving conflict with empathy, creativity, and nonviolence. And it's a never-ending task. It's not like, you have to just keep on doing this. It's a problem-solving technique that you keep on doing. And then because I now want to know more about empathy, I'll admit I have not been joining the empathy circles here from the Peace Alliance. It's like, what an amazing resource we all have. So I'm making it, a commitment to being a part of that. Because I think that's just key, right? Because people that have an empathic heart, you don't have to be convinced, but some people just, I think it's just covered with maybe too much pain or something, that's what we just need to get to, So I don't know, that I'd like to hear more about maybe the empathy circles or just other people's views on empathy, but I just know I wanted to learn more about it. And in the last month, I'm just getting all these lessons about empathy. So
Thank you.
so thank you.
I just wanted to read 2 sentences from the election bulletin.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, I meant to do that. Go ahead.
Well,
No.
One of the things he said, I believe a deficit of mutual listening, empathy, and collaborative problem solving threatens the well-being of our families and our democracies. There are solutions. We, the people, must take mutual responsibility along with our elected officials for understanding each other and solving our problems together. So with that, I'm going to give it over to you, Kendra, to lead the discussion, because we have a lot of thoughts going here. So
I signal is unstable, so if I pop out, just take over. So yeah, we just want to have this discussion, continue this discussion that Nancy and Lori have started, and Charlie. How can we inject empathy in our election conversations with each other, with our advocacy? And I think that when we talk about children, that seems to be an open heart tool. But when I talk about animals, as Lori said, people don't have the same response. Or with the environment, people don't have the same response. So I just like to hear from any of you about what you think about empathy in our conversations with each other and with our legislators.
I might say something about, I don't know if any of you watched Matthew McConaughey speaking on the situation in Uvalde. He's an actor, as most of you know, and he was born in Uvalde. And he spent a week after the tragic shooting, and he talked to all the families. He went to Congress and he gave testimony, and he gave a really good case for a bipartisan approach to this. And if you have a chance, you should Google it. But one of the things that stuck with me is he said every family told him that they want their children's death to matter. And I think that's what we're doing. We're trying to do is make all this matter for a future world. But check out his video. It's there's a long version and short version, but he did a great job. And welcome, Seta, by the way, you came on late.
Yeah, hi Seta. Do you want to say hello? Seta is from Illinois, for those who don't know her. She might be muted. We'll see if she.
I am. I'm driving, so I don't want to talk or anything, but I am listening because I love all you guys, you know.
We know, we love you too.
Yeah. So if I have anything to add, I'll try to click on that little button there. Okay.
Okay.
DJ has her hand
Excellent.
up. DJ has her hand up.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, DJ.
Okay, so I know a little bit about the empathy circles because Jana has become trained in how to lead them. And Jana has become very involved in it. And what Jana would like to do is remember when Truth and Reconciliation started, it started as a larger group. And that larger group broke into smaller groups. And one of those was True Storytelling. So True Storytelling has been going on now for 18 months, every month. But the other component of Truth and Reconciliation, started by Dan Kahn and a few others from the Peace Alliance, just kind of fell off to the side. So what Jana would like to do is sort of reinstitute Truth and Reconciliation as a larger group that uses the empathy circles as a structure, because it's a structure of how to, communicate. It could be used for any purpose. And she's trained in how to do it. So I just wanted to put that out there. So you might want to talk to Jana if you're interested in actually seeing more of it. And Kathy Kidd, who's been doing the empathy circles, is really supportive of Jana's idea. And then the other thing I wanted to mention more about, I've been studying empathy for a very, 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 very long time. I started studying empathy in the 1980s. I have a lot of data. I have videotapes. I have interviews about empathy and education. Back in those days, we really believed that there were people who didn't have empathy. We really believe that. I don't believe that anymore. I don't. I do believe that everybody's capable of, except for maybe a psychopath here and there. But generally speaking, the Republican senators are not psychopaths, I don't think. Well, maybe there are one or two. But anyway, what I wanted to kind of wrap up by saying is that I am very, very disturbed by this division we have in our country today. Yeah, it's very disturbing. And I really see that that's kind of our goal as the Peace Alliance, as the Department of Peace Building strategy group, to kind of come up with maybe some kind of plan, you know, where we can embrace who they are. And through that embrace, they may become, you never know, sponsors of the Department of Peace Building. So I watched, I'll just try to be quick now. I watched, you know, I'm always watching some old documentary. It's How to Start a Revolution. And it uses, I think it's Sharp's, you know, what is it, 160 or whatever, nonviolent ways or whatever. It's based on that. And it's based on other countries and really has very little to do with today or this country. But there's one little gem in there that I think is really incredible. It's like right kind of in the middle. And it's this, I don't even know who he is, but whoever he is, I really love what he said. And he's trying to say, how can you bring democracy to a dictatorship? And he said, the key is this, that the people who are in the regime, they want to believe that they will have a role in the new regime. They want to feel that there's something they're doing that's important. And whatever that is, if you tap into that importance and you say, you get to still do that. Matter of fact, you can, you know, participate in that. And so I'll write that up because I know it's not very clear what I'm saying, but I thought it was really good. There's a certain amount of co-opting that has to happen. If we really want a United States Department of Peace Building in United States government, we're going to have to co-opt. And he said, that's just what you have to do. You just have to do it, you know, in a smart strategy, using smart strategies such as empathy, of course. So that's it. Laura, did you want to say something?
Oh, yeah, I was just going to expand on what you were saying because definitely creating a win-win is always a good way to go, not to demonize people for their political parties or whatever, because this is nonpartisan. I think peace building should be a unifier. And so how can we set up that win for them too? And the other thing I wanted to say is when I was on the presentation this morning with the Global Peace Index, they said exactly what you're saying. And I know that we've been talking about this all year on different groups, but their conclusion after all the bad data and everything on our levels of peacefulness, and by the way, they said North America had the second largest deterioration in peacefulness of all regions globally. So that's pretty grim. But one of the recommendations that they came out with was the need to do peace building with the non-peace builders in order to expand the constituency for peace building.
That's true.
I just want to check in. Who joined us from area code 614? Would you like to say hello?
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, I'm sorry I was late. For some reason, I was thinking 9 o'clock because you're always used to be different, and I was thinking it was started at 9, not 8. So, sorry, I'm
No
late.
worries, no
But
worries. So, do you want to tell us your name and where you're from and
I'm
your
Deborah
interest?
Walters, and from Mechanicsburg. Ohio. I've been with Peace Alliance for a very long time. I have been checking in periodically throughout this last year, listening to some of the things. I've just been kind of busy the last 6 months and haven't really been good about checking in. So I'm just trying to be better. But yeah, I've been like since Dan Kahn came and we had a Peace Alliance in Champaign County. Oh gosh, years ago with Peggy Hanna from Springfield, and we do the Piece of Pie thing. We go talk with Sherrod Brown, our senator, and of course, unfortunately, Jim Jordan is our senator as well. But anyway, and couldn't get with him, but did talk to some of his people, which were very nice. So have been involved in the past, and just, trying to get back involved again.
Great. Welcome. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Is Peggy Hannah still around?
Yes, she is. I talked to her. I haven't. Her husband Jim passed away a couple of years ago, and I had found that out and reached out to her, and I haven't actually talked to her recently, but I've been planning on trying to get a hold of her. I know she did finally retire, and so had I last year, but she did, I think, last year as well. But she's been very busy at the time. She was helping out a friend of hers that wasn't well, and was very busy with that. So, but yeah, as far as I know, like I said, I haven't talked to her, probably since the holidays.
If you speak with her, I worked with her on some of the advocacy that you're talking about, and please say hello from me. This is Nancy.
Yes, I will. I do need to talk. I need to at least text her and let her know I'm still around. And at the time we were trying to get together, and she was just so busy all the time with this friend of hers. So I will do that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mm-hmm.
I have a question. Either Deanne or DJ, Kathy leads the empathy circles, or does Jana? I'm a little confused about that.
Hey, Lori. So for the regular empathy circles that we do on the first Tuesday of every month, Kathy Kidd is the leader of that one, and I had the pleasure of training with her with Lou Enzel to facilitate those, and they really are very powerful. It's a very different way of being in circle with others, because you're there are guidelines, you're relating and reflecting back to the person exactly what they say, not your interpretation of what they say. And it takes some practice to do that, but it's a really powerful circle. So highly recommend it.
Yeah, no, as they say, my bad for not getting involved. I've done some NVC training, so I know that that's probably part of it, right? Or maybe that's the basis, but is Jana, I'm sorry, I'm still a little confused. So that's Kathy. Now Jana, that DJ's talking about, that's something, that's a different circle, or?
It is a different circle. Yeah. Sorry, DJ, go ahead.
No, that's okay. Well, I mean, Jana is just thinking about it. It's not really in existence yet, because she got trained and she's actually working with the trainers, like going through a lot of extra training. There are different steps you go through, and Dee, you know about the steps. But Jana's really into it, but she doesn't necessarily want to be the trainer of empathy circles. She wants the group to be an empathy circle. You don't have to be facilitating it to come and participate. And it's not necessarily going to be a training to become an empathy circle facilitator. It's going to be just led that way. That's what my point is that she wants that to happen. And Kathy said, oh, that's a great idea. Kathy loves the idea. And Dee, I don't know if I've talked to you about it yet, maybe not, maybe this is the time we're talking about it. I meant to, but we got busy with other things. But if you're interested in experimenting with how the empathy circles work for communicating about truth and reconciliation, or the Department of Peace Building, whatever, you know, we're doing, you can contact Jana and let her know you'd be interested in coming. She wants to sort of plug in to that third Saturday that was left open when Dan Kahn left. The Peace Alliance, that kind of was a hole there.
Okay, so that's under the Truth and Reconciliation Committee, not the Empathy Circle Committee. Is that right?
I don't think there's an empathy circle committee.
No, there's not.
No, you haven't. You just said on the first Tuesday. I guess I'm still confused.
Well, so Kathy Kidd is our national field coordinator, and she organizes the Tuesday night offerings. So the first Tuesday is an empathy circle. Second Tuesday is the National Monthly Peace Builders Call that we just had last night. Third Tuesday is kind of open and floating for other events. And then the fourth Tuesday is a book club, consciousness raising book club. So Kathy's in charge of the Tuesday night lineup, and empathy circles is one of those. So there's not really a committee for the empathy circles. That's just something she offers.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm on
all.
about 4 committees, but that's why I'm saying, but you know, it's okay. Thank you for the clarification.
Absolutely, absolutely.
You need another committee, I think.
And DJ, I like that idea. I look forward to that happening, using it as a format for committee work. Sounds very interesting.
Is there a code number for the empathy circle? Get in on that?
Yeah, Beth, do you mean like how you get on the Zoom? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So if you go to the Peace Alliance calendar and
she does not have a computer. So.
Oh, okay.
I need to get it in on the phone.
Right. Well, yes, there are.
On the phone.
There is call-in information. I would just need to get it to you somehow. So if you don't have a computer, Beth, I'm not sure how to get that information.
I can get that and text it to Beth.
Oh, that would be great.
With it. Yeah.
That would be great. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Should I give you my phone number now?
Yeah, I have it, Beth. So I'll get it to you. Okay.
You got my phone number?
Yes, I do.
Can you call me?
Yes, I can.
You have both of my numbers?
I do. You are
okay.
saving my phone forever and ever, Beth.
Who am I talking to?
You're talking to Karen.
Yeah.
Oh, Karen from Texas?
Karen from the great state of Illinois.
Yeah.
Oh, Karen, will you get it for me then?
Yes, I will. Yeah, before this coming Tuesday, because there's programming just about every Tuesday. So I'll talk to you about that when I call you, okay?
So I want to just close this discussion with the thought of that we want to awaken empathy within others, but that means that we need to be open to hearing and feeling what the other person is saying. And we need to be so open that we might change our minds. We might change our hearts. And that's the important part for me. And I don't know where we are. I think we need to close. So I'm turning it back to you, Karen.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, great conversation. I'd like to just check in with Sarah, see if she has a quick question, and then I'll go over some of the things going forward that people can tune into and save dates for. Did you have anything, Sarah, that you wanted to ask or add?
No, I'm very happy that I plugged in tonight, and just really impressed with all of you and your strong, powerful, vital efforts that you've been doing for however long you've been doing it. So I hope to get more involved.
Great,
so,
great. We welcome you with open arms.
Yeah,
so the actions that Nancy went over, That's on our Department of Peace Building page, dopcampaign.org. We've got some upcoming things, and actually one is this coming Monday. There's World Unity Week, and you can see more at worldunityweek.org, but we're going to have a segment Monday afternoon. I believe it's going to be 85 minutes as part of the Rotary Club's channel in the afternoon. So we're going to be talking about the Department of Peace Building and peace in the context of the role that it could play with getting passed. So I don't know the exact time yet, but I think it's between 1 and 4 in the afternoon. And I'm not even sure if that's Central or Eastern time, but around that, but we're waiting to get locked into a specific slot. But you can see the whole schedule. There's other organizations. I think there's around 700 things that people can watch starting the 18th through, I think, the 24th of June. So there's that. We just set our dates for Advocacy Days 2022. September 13th and 14th, we're doing it before International Day of Peace this year, and we'll be sharing all kinds of events that are happening around there. So it's really great that the world is really embracing the month of International Day of Peace. And let's see, I was thinking of something else, but I can't think of what it is. Yeah, the anniversary is coming up on July 11th, so we're going to try and get you the more details about Advocacy Days before then. The strategy group for anybody. A lot of people who are on this call are on it, but we formed a strategy group in the fall, and anybody can join us and get into more work in some subcommittees that are doing the hands-on work now. That's really helped us expand and get a lot more done over the last 9 months. So that's also an option. You can email Nancy@peacealliance.org if you'd like to join us for the next call and see where you might fit in, or we could have a phone conversation, etc. So I don't want to even say that's everything because we're working on so many things. I want to say hi to Deborah, who joined us in the last couple of minutes. Better late than never, Deborah from Georgia. Good to see that you popped in.
Hi.
Do we have a closing quote from someone?
I have a closing quote. This is from Diana Ostreich, an author of Waging Peace, One Soldier's Story of Putting Love First. She says, waging peace requires that we have the courage to face what's broken first in ourselves and then in the system affecting those around us, and uncover who has been harmed and how we are connected to them.
Beautiful. I think the empathy. So thank you all for all you are and do.
Can I just say out loud, Karen, that the quote that Kendra just read, for those who can't see the chat, is from the book club selection for this month. So June 28th, Waging Peace is going to be our book club selection Tuesday night. So we'd love to have you with us to join in the dialogue.
Great. Oh, one more plug, the book club selection, probably after that is We Need a Department of Peace.
July.
So that will be announced before too long. So that's like up until this bill, the history of the work toward a Department of Peace in the United States. So we'll have a discussion on that too. Thank you. Yeah. All right. Good night, everybody. Have a great night.
Good night.
Fine.
All right.
Thank you for all you do.